everyone. Thank you so very much for joining me this morning. I'm going to take you through this 10-minute full body morning yoga practice suitable for all experience levels. So just a great way for you to start your day by really tuning into your body, connecting to your breath, and setting your intention for the day ahead. So this is great for all levels. I would recommend having 2 blocks. We are going to be using them. However, if you don't have blocks at home, don't worry. I'll give you some options to modify, but definitely if you have them, they'll make some of the poses a lot easier. So just go ahead and grab them. And then once you have that, we're going to start kneeling exactly like I am here. So I'm just resting, sitting my hips over the top of my heels. If for any reason this doesn't work for your ankles or for your knees, you can just sit cross-legged. And we're going to interlace our fingers and then flip to turn the palms out in front of you. And you're going to reach and lift your arms all the way up. And just kind of inch one shoulder up at a time. Start to breathe in and out through your nose. And just noticing if you can lengthen each vertebrae along your spine. And then go ahead and lift up through your heart. Look up towards the sky, little back bend here. And let's come into a side bend. So you can let your left hand come down to the mat and you're just going to reach your right arm up and over. So big side body stretch. Keeping both hips over the top of your heels. Relax your head, relax your neck. And maintaining a side bend, we're going to add kind of like a little forward fold or really like a flexion of the spine. So you're going to reach your right arm kind of like in a diagonal and like you're doing a little cat shape, start to round through your upper back. So really breathing and opening up. And behind that right shoulder blade. And circle all the way down back to center and roll up inch by inch until you're back lifted up nice and tall. Interlace your hands, flip and reach them up. Little back bend here. And drop your right fingertips to the floor. Reach your left arm up and over. Big side body stretch. No tension in your neck. Feel your breath go all the way down to your lower belly. And let's contract a little bit here. So you're rounding through your spine and almost reaching out in a diagonal. You can tuck your chin to your chest slightly here, pulling your lower belly in. And coming back through to center. And let's lift on up. Make your way onto hands and knees, tabletop pose. Big toes together, widen your knees further apart. Press your hips towards your heels and walk your hands out even further. Balasana, your child's pose. And we'll take 5 slow, steady breaths here. And this is a good time to begin asking yourself what your intention is for your day. I usually like to do this by just picking one word, but you might have a full sentence. What does your body need? Mentally, what do you need? Emotionally, what do you need? One more full belly breath. And we're going to crawl forward onto our bellies for Sphinx pose. So you can bring your knees back in, toes pointed back behind you. Lift and open through your chest, rolling your shoulders back. Kind of pressing a little bit through your pubic bone so that you're lengthening your tailbone towards your heels. Breathe in through your heart and exhale, release. Let's press back. Make sure you have your blocks at the top of the mat like I have them here. If you have your blocks, otherwise Don't worry about it. And we're going to find our first downward facing dog. So from tabletop, I am walking my hands a couple inches further forward, still spreading my fingertips nice and wide, and then tucking the toes under in order to lift the hips up and back. And it's morning for me as well. This is my first practice of the day, my first opportunity to move. So it's probably likely that there's a good amount of stiffness and tightness. So just bend your knees as much as you'd like. Think of straightening your arms a little bit more as you reach your chest towards your thighs and you curl and lift your tailbone up towards the sky. Find a little more stillness in this pose, Adho Mukha Svanasana, and we're going to extend our right leg up towards the sky, bend your knee, open up your hip, give yourself a great big stretch here. And let's step our foot forward in between the palms to the top of the mat. And this is where you're either just going to keep your fingertips on the floor if you don't have any props. Otherwise, if you do have some blocks, definitely grab them and you can just frame your front foot. I like to keep them on its highest level just to give a little bit more space in this deep lunge. Maybe rocking back and forth. And there is a little bit of a back bend happening here as I'm rolling my shoulders back and opening through my heart. Let your hips be heavy. And then straighten your front leg as much as you can, as much as is suitable to you. And you might fold forward and down. So my back heel is not really touching the mat. It's hovering a little bit here, but I am trying to push it down so that I'm really stretching into the back of my calf and into my ankle. Let's take a cleansing breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Breathe in. And release. Bend into your front knee a little bit here, and you can just bring that back foot in a couple inches. You're going to bring your blocks out in front of you at about a foot. Otherwise, you're just doing this with your hands to the mat. And we're going to kick that left leg up. Try to keep it straight and squared. So I'm not rolling my left hip open. I'm really trying to press it down, flexing into the left foot, keeping my chest about parallel to the floor. Pull the lower belly in and fold forward at the top of the mat. You can bend your knees as much as you'd like. Release the hold of your blocks. Maybe holding onto your elbows as you sway side to side. Release your hands to the mat, bend your knees generously, and push into your heels primarily to come all the way up, lifting to stand, Tadasana, mountain pose, shining your palms forward, rolling your shoulders back. And let's take a little vinyasa. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, flat back. Plant your palms, step back to plank pose, and we lower all the way down to our belly. Inhale, Bhujangasana, your cobra pose. Keep your elbows bent. And we find our downward facing dog, getting ready to find those poses on the second side. So lengthen out in your downward dog. Create some space here, trying to wrap through your shoulders. And when you find stillness in this pose, let's reach our left leg up towards the sky. Bend your left knee, open up that hip. Really just stretch it out here. And that left foot will step forward to the top of the mat between your palms. And you're either going to grab your blocks or just keep your fingertips on the floor. The blocks definitely make this a lot more accessible and I find just overall more comfortable. So let your hips be heavy here as you roll your shoulders back and open up. So creating space right at the collarbones, like they're moving away from one another. And you can rock back and forth, changing the sensation of the pose a little. Try not to sink all of your body weight into your wrists. Be a little kinder to your joints. into that wide pyramid pose. You're gonna straighten that left leg as much as is appropriate to you and fold on down. And maybe your right heel is touching. I know mine does not, especially when my legs are wide like this, but really see if you can stretch at the back. So right into that calf. Relax your arms and your shoulders. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Bend into your front knee a little. Walk that back foot in a couple inches just so you can bring your blocks out in front of you. A variation of Virabhadrasana 3 or Warrior 3. We're using the support of our blocks to hold us here. Wrap that right hip in. Flex through your right foot and think of pulling your lower body, or sorry, your lower belly towards your lower back. So you're really engaging those deep abdominals. And folding on down. Soften all the way, ragdoll, maybe holding on to your elbows as you sway side to side. And rather than lifting up this time, go ahead and release your hands down, bend your knees, and come all the way down. Let's find our butterfly fold, soles of the feet together to touch, knees apart. And you can do this with or without a block. We're gonna melt on down. So I like to have the block just to support the head. Take 5 deep breaths here in the pose. And as we start to close our practice, get really clear on what you're calling in today. What is important to you? What is priority? And we'll start to lift our head and chest back up. I'm just going to move my block back out. We'll do a little 1-minute meditation as opposed to doing Shavasana, just so we don't fall asleep this morning. So you can rest your hands on your lap, close your eyes, and I won't talk here because I want you to really focus in, connecting to your breath, and choosing your one-word intention for the day. Sitting up a little taller. Join your hands at your heart. Let's close this morning practice by chanting Om together 1 time. Inhale to chant. Breathe in. Thank you so very much for doing this morning practice with me. I hope you feel energized and connected. Before you head off, please let me know what your intention is today. Leave it to me as a comment below. Please do subscribe, and hopefully you'll practice again with me tomorrow morning.